There's a story going around that WWE has hired someone to focus on using AI for their creative stories. AI is truly taken over everything, and I'm not sure how I feel about this, but if we're going off the way SmackDown was booked, they might just be cooking. AI might just be cooking. So I thought to myself, let's try it out for ourselves. I know this has been done before, but I think AI has evolved a lot since those videos were done. So let's see what AI can book for the WWE. So I went into ChatGPT, and the very first thing I did was give it some background. I said, for this specific chat, you are going to be the head booker for WWE right now. And then I went to the very first prompt, which was, I need you to book AJ Styles' retirement run, as he said he's retiring in 2026. So let's see what AI can cook for us. Overall vision, they say the final phenomenon. They're already cooking with that name as well. They're already cooking with that one. They say AJ Styles wants to prove that the phenomenal one still belongs at the top before he hangs up his boots. But the world has changed and he has to face both old rivals and the new era he helped inspire. I got no problems there. Some stories from the past and some new stories in the future. I got no problems there. Phase 1, they say. The real AJ Styles. So the setup is AJ returns on SmackDown and announces that 2026 will be his last year. He says he wants to end on his own terms. Not as a nostalgia act, but as the best between those ropes. Okay, pretty cool. I think AJ's already made it clear that he's going to retire next year. So this would feel like a kind of repeat, but I guess the casual fan might not know that. Character, apparently AJ is going to be a bit of a tweener here. So maybe that's just a bit of ego in him that's towards more heelish side. And then of course he's a face to the fans. First feud they're going to run, AJ Styles versus LA Knight. Apparently LA Knight's going to mock him for living in the past and says, this ain't 2016 anymore, dummy. So LA Knight uses a catchphrase he's been using since maybe 2016 to tell AJ Styles it's not 2016. Okay. AJ beats him clean at Crown Jewel. After all that, you lose clean. After a killer promo exchange. Okay. This shows AJ can still go, but his age starts showing. Slower recoveries, taped up ribs, etc. I like that. Start showing that this is going to be a long retirement tour for AJ Styles. One full of pain and suffering. Apparently, key promo, I've been phenomenal my whole life, but now I want to see if I can be unforgettable. That's kind of cold. That's kind of cold, I'm not going to lie. They might be onto something with this AI thing. They might be onto something. Phase 2. The past comes calling. So, at the Royal Rumble 2026, which we know will be in Saudi, AJ enters early, puts on a clinic, 40 plus minutes, they say, and gets eliminated by Finn Balor after a tense Bullet Club style stare down. That's pretty cool. We're getting AJ versus Finn according to ChatGPT. The feud is obviously AJ versus Finn, a battle of respect and legacy. Finn Balor claims AJ lost his edge. That's that's a lot coming from you, buddy. Your name is now Finn Balor and you're telling AJ he's lost his edge. But okay. AJ says Finn only found his edge because AJ paved the road. The match, WrestleMania 42. So the WrestleMania match, AJ Styles versus Finn Balor. I can deal with that. The last Bullet Club clash. A match of the night contender, AJ wins clean in a 25-minute war. Give them 25 minutes at WrestleMania, I'm sure you will get a banger. Post-match embrace, okay? The crowd chants, thank you AJ. All of that good stuff that we get. Finn to AJ post-match, you made us all believe we could be phenomenal. It's a little bit corny, but cool. A little bit corny, I don't think Finn would be saying that. Phase 3, the torchbearer. So AJ declares his goal. One last summer, one last series of matches to find out who's next. It begins an open challenge series. Seems a little bit like he's copying Cena, and they even say that here. Like Cena's US Open channel, but more emotional. Okay? Opponents, Carmelo Hayes, Ilya Dragunov, Trick Williams, Chad Gable. Bangers, all bangers. Well, maybe not Trick Williams, but all bangers. Each match tells a story. AJ wins the first few and then starts losing narrowly to younger stars. So he beats Trick Williams and then loses to Melo, Ilya, and Chad. I'm cool with that. That's not what Chad says, but that's what I'm saying. Commentary emphasizes how AJ's teaching lessons through these matches. Isn't like Chad Gable like nearly 40? What lessons does he need to learn? Anyway, SummerSlam 2026, AJ Styles versus Carmelo Hayes 2. Melo wins clean. AJ raises his hand and passes the torch officially. You know what? That's the perfect way. That's the perfect way. Carmelo Hayes would be a great guy for AJ to pass the torch to. Phase 4, the phenomenal one. The feud, AJ versus Seth Rollins. Ooh, okay. Rollins is now a semi-heel veteran who calls himself the architect of the modern era. Sounds like something Seth would say and talk about for weeks and weeks and weeks. He tells AJ, you inspired me once, but now it's my house. AJ fires back, then I'll leave it better than I found it. What does that even mean? The two perfectionists obsessed with legacy, both unwilling to admit the other might be the best of their generation. Are they the same generation? I don't know. I think it's different. The build. Seth injures AJ's knee like old TNA callbacks. Are they talking about Seth and AJ in TNA? Because I don't know about that. But if they're talking about AJ in general selling his knee in TNA, okay. AJ says he'll go out on his own terms, so we get to WrestleMania 43. I feel like that goes against my prompt because I did say he'd be retiring in 2026. But hey, maybe they extend it by a couple weeks. AJ versus Seth Rollins. Phenomenal versus Visionary. Epic 30-minute match. AJ hits a final styles clash, hesitates on the cover, like Taker's storytelling beats. What? Okay. Seth counters with a curb stomp. 1, 2, 3, Seth wins. Afterwards, Seth kneels beside AJ, whispers something off mic, then raises his hand. Full arena, thank you AJ's. Confetti, family in the crowd, camera fades on AJ mouthing, it's been phenomenal. They're really trying to hone in on that cinema aspect of this. I'm not sure about this final match. I would like it to be someone like Melo. That's what I would have done. I also maybe would have added in a little TNA Leon Slater match there, but that wasn't in the prompt. I said you the book of WWE, not TNA. So we'll give them a bit of slack there. But hey, they didn't listen. They went to 2027 with ChatGPT. Can't complain. You know what? The matches were all great. There's nothing I wouldn't want to see there. You know, obviously, I think there'd be a few matches in between all of that. He's not going to wrestle 4 matches, and that's that. There'll be a few more matches in between all of that. Maybe if someone who's rumored to be returning, Chris Jericho, maybe we get a match between them. That would be great because obviously, you know, that was the early days of AJ's WWE run, was that stuff with Chris Jericho. I'd be happy with all of that. That honestly, ChatGPT did not do a bad job at all. It had some nice catchy lines that you could use for this booking, you know, stories that you could tell using those catchy lines. I like that. Would you guys be happy if this is the way AJ Styles' run ended, the way he retired? Would you be happy with this? Let me know down below in the comments. Okay, now the next prompt I gave it was, now I need you to book the road to WrestleMania 42 starting at the Royal Rumble. Apparently, Royal Rumble is in San Antonio, Texas in 2026. Did they rename Saudi to San Antonio, Texas? Maybe. Theme, a new standard. Don't know what that is. Key matches at the Royal Rumble. Okay, so we got Cody Rhodes and Gunther, apparently. Banger. With Cody retaining, barely surviving a brutal match. Gunther looks like a monster. Fair enough. World Heavyweight Championship match. We got Seth versus Drew. With Seth retaining via a cunning counter. Whatever that means. Setting up future resentment for Drew. Then we have a women's title, Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch. Banger. I feel like they just put the top people against each other and they say there's your booking, which, you know what, I can't fault them for. Rhea retains clean after a war, solidifying her dominance. Then AJ enters the Rumble early, eliminates Legends, and has a showdown with Finn Balor, the angle we established earlier. So I like that. I like that they included that angle that we established earlier. That's pretty cool. The fact that it's taking into account different areas of the booking. The Royal Rumble winners, we've got Cody Rhodes wins back-to-back. Damn, Cody double duty and winning back-to-back even though he didn't win last year. So it's back-to-back, then skipped a year, and then win again. That's what they're saying Cody Rhodes is essentially done. Why is Cody Rhodes winning the Royal Rumble when he's the WWE champion? Chat, Nah, you messed up here. You messed up here. Securing his dream main event against Roman Reigns. They've done that twice, titled The Final Chapter. Okay? So this is like thrice in a lifetime. That's what they're kind of doing here. Cool. Cody wins from number 10 even, eliminating Solo Sikoa of the Roman orders Solo to finish the story for me. So Solo and Roman are apparently a thing again. They apparently not beefing anymore, according to ChatGPT. The Women's Rumble, Bianca Belair wins, choosing Rhea Ripley for WrestleMania. The two powerhouses finally collide. You know what? I'm cool with that. That's a match that should have happened already at WrestleMania. So I'm cool with that. That is something I personally would want. And definitely next year, not the year after in Saudi. Now we're moving on to the Elimination Chamber. The chamber matches. The men's chamber match for the number one contender for the world title. I assume that is for Seth Rollins' title. Because Cody, who won the Rumble, chose Roman. Even though Roman wasn't the champion, Cody was the champion. Confusing. Anyway. Drew McIntyre versus Gunther versus Jey Uso versus Sami Zayn versus Finn Balor versus Braun Breaker. Pretty cool match. Drew McIntyre wins, pinning Gunther last. So continuing that story from the Rumble. Then we get the Women's Chamber for the SmackDown title shots. I assume that means for the WWE Women's Championship. Io Sky versus Bayley versus Tiffany Stratton versus Liv Morgan versus Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Io Sky wins. So I guess that means Tiffany Stratton's not the champion in this. According to their booking, she has already lost it. So that's one thing. The Bloodline subplot. Roman Reigns is not champion anymore, but still manipulating from the shadows. Solo Sikoa begins to act independently, refusing Roman's orders. We've seen this. This happened already. Roman's paranoia grows, cracks form. The cracks have already been split open, filled again, opened up, split open. All of the above has happened. We do not need to see that again. Then AJ and Finn Balor's chapter continues with a backstage brawl. We then move on to something called the Road Narrows. I don't know. This is in March apparently. Cody versus Roman, the true finale. Roman returns claiming you never beat me clean. You finished your story but not mine. Triple H sanctions the match for the Undisputed Championship. No bloodline, no interference. One fall to a finish. Cody cuts his most passionate promo yet, saying this isn't about finishing my story anymore. This is about ending yours. Very generic stuff for something we've seen before. Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. Drew says Seth's title reign is built on trickery and luck. Seth mocks him. You'll always talk about moments, Drew. I make them. Corny stuff. Slow burn turn for Drew into anti-hero. Match booked for Mania. Okay. Rhea versus Bianca Belair. Two dominant women who've never had their definitive one-on-one Mania clash. We spoke about that. Rhea as the heel champion. Bianca as the challenger chasing respect. Cool. Tension builds between them, physical pull aparts, and respect-based promos. Standard stuff. Nothing creative yet. Damage control implodes. Damage control implodes. What did I expect? Io finally turns on Bayley, saying she's tired of being the shadow of her idol. Emotional personal feud. Yeah. So Bayley's the WWE champion apparently. Logan Paul versus LA Knight. US title. Pure entertainment feud. LA Knight cuts a savage promo about Logan being a YouTuber who bought his way into the business. Corny stuff. That happened as well. We don't need that. WrestleMania 42 Night 1. Okay. AJ Styles versus Finn Balor. Cool. We established that. I like that it brought that into this one. Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair. Good match. Logan Paul versus LA Knight. Seen it before. We don't need it. Gunther versus Sheamus 3 career match. Sheamus finally beats Gunther to end their trilogy. Whose career was on the line? Is Gunther retired? Or was Sheamus' career the only one on the line? But cool, Sheamus finally got his win over Gunther. I like that. That could be something you could run. Don't know about the career match stuff, especially for Gunther. Io Sky versus Bayley. Io retains in a banger, so Io was the champion. Huh? I don't know if I made a mistake there, but yeah. The main event, Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre for the world title. This was WrestleMania 40, wasn't it? 41. 40. Yeah, we don't need that again, by the way. Yeah, that's the main event. Went from an opener at WrestleMania 40 to the main event here. Night 2. Edge surprise turn versus Solo Sikoa. What? Edge returns for one last Mania pop, wins, but Solo Sikoa looks strong. Okay. It's Tony Khan, I'm sorry. ChatGPT booked it, it's happening. Then we have a tag title ladder match, DIY versus the Usos, Street Profits, and Judgment Day. DIY win to give the tag titles. DIY win to give the tag division a classic. Cool. Women's tag showcase, Jay Cargill and Naomi. Okay, they're a team. They've been beefing, but anyway. Major showcase for Jade happened already. This is like a copy of WrestleMania 40 at times. Gunther appears backstage confronting Drew, teasing the next program. Okay, you lost, but you want to go for the world champion. Yeah, Anyway, co-main event, AJ Styles Hall of Fame induction segment. Pretty cool. Pure tears is what they describe it as. Main event, Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. Clean finish. Cody wins with a Crossroads trilogy. No interference. Roman walks out silently, head down. Confetti after the match. Cody celebrates with fans, family, and fireworks. WWE officially transitions into the new era. It feels like that's always happening, always transitioning into the new era. But you know what? That is how ChatGPT booked WrestleMania. I'm not really too much of a fan of how they've booked it. Some parts is pretty cool. Some parts I'm like I can be down with that. Other parts it's just copy and paste of previous stories because obviously it's a learning machine. It learns about previous things and then just regurgitates it, and that's what it's done here. Am I cool with WWE using ChatGPT? You know what? Or not ChatGPT, AI in general. They might have a different AI that maybe caters more towards creativity. Am I happy with it? I don't know. Depends how they use it. It depends how they use it. AI is one of those things that can be super beneficial to you if you use it in the right way. If you use it with the correct prompts. If you use it as a guideline and not as fact. If you give it the right information, it can be highly useful. Do I want to see generic spewed out stuff? Definitely not. Definitely not. And ChatGPT might not be the AI for them to use. They might need to find something else. But some of this was not it. I like the AJ Styles stuff actually. I really liked it. As a guideline, I liked it. As for the WrestleMania stuff, it felt like now there was too much for them to handle, for the AI to handle. It wasn't as focused. So that's how I feel. AI in WWE, apparently they're also using it for graphics and so on. We've already seen it with the El Grande Americano stuff. I find it whatever for that specific character. It kind of makes sense. He's a fake character to begin with a fake background. So the AI aspect to it makes sense. You know, you can't show real stuff if it never happened. With regards to other things, it's just going to all become generic and the same thing. It's easy to spot out things that are AI for now. So if that's the case, it's all going to look like AI. So like I said, if they use it for guideline, that's all right with me. But with that being said, what did you guys think of this AI booking? And would you like to see any of this? Did it cook? Did it flop? You guys let me know. We'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Peace.